Hey everyone, what's up? The cool. I'll get a little closer here. Hopefully you can hear me on the microphone. It looks like it's working, so that's good. So I mentioned this in a post on the community board. So if you're just now seeing this and you're like, oh man, I wish I'd known, I started to put it in the community board. I'm gonna try to get the word out there more that I'm gonna be doing live streams and stuff like that. Um, this one, of course, is PGA show, right? I've spent the last few days at the PGA show. I went there Tuesday and Wednesday for demo day and for the first day of the expo, and brought Alex with me this time so he could shoot camera. That way I could do a little bit more interviews and actually talk with people and get a lot of it more on film. And, last year was kind of to get my feet wet. This year I tried to go much more in depth so that way I could get as much information to you all as possible about everything from just cool stuff, clubs, obviously golf balls, that's the most important. But what I really wanted to do is try to get it from the average golfer perspective, because the thing about the PGA show, a lot of it is meant for PGA pros. A lot of it is meant for, guys who are networking, like, hey, you can provide this clothing for my pro shop, whatever. So I tried to really go in there with the mentality of, let's, just see what would be great for average golfers who are looking for a bargain or looking for something that has great value or that could help them better their game, that kind of thing. So what that means is this is an open forum as always. You can ask me any question. Specifically, I'd like to hone in on PGA show questions, anything that's going to come out this year, whether it's golf related or whatever. But of course, it is an open forum. So if you want to ask me anything about my personal life or whatever, the channel or growth or whatever, it doesn't matter. It's an open forum. So thank you for being here as always. Channel's been doing very well. There's so much great golf ball content going to come this year, and I'm really excited about it. So I apologize that there hasn't been content the last week, but again, I've been out of town and I just don't have the people to be able to go out of town and still have someone edit for me or whatever. But let's dive right in here. I've got my live chat. It is set, I think, to everybody. I know I've ran into that being an issue as well. And I've had it on top chat, and some of you are like, I'm not getting mine seen. I think I finally have fixed that. So what new golf balls have you noticed direct to consumer? That's a great first question. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about some of the great golf balls as far as direct to consumer, what I saw from the show. The first thing that comes to mind is Snyder Golf, of course. Snyder actually was at the show. They had a booth, and good for them. Last year I didn't even know who they were, and now they've really hit the American market hard. They've recently lowered their prices, which was great, and that was all based on feedback from you all. The golf balls didn't, have very good user feedback, not because of their performance, but because they were just priced really high. So they listened to that feedback. They slashed their prices. Their MSRP came way down. They're much more reasonable. And they had a booth at the show. And it was really cool. I don't know if you saw the short, but in their booth, I actually kind of was really thankful to them. But they actually put my videos up on TVs in their booth of me reviewing their balls. And that was pretty cool, too, to see that. Bigaball was another one that I was really impressed with, because Bigaball, again, these were two guys I met last year at the show. They're like, hey, we're just a couple guys wanted to make a golf ball, just, whatever. They were $27 a dozen for a 2-piece. And then come to find out, not only have they done so well because their golf ball is okay, it's pretty decent, but now they're coming out with a 4-piece. I think they're going to come out with a 3-piece. They've got a lot of prototypes, and they're going to send me some of those so I can test those as well. And they've lowered the price from 27 to 20 on their 2-piece. So they're making strides as well. I credit both of those direct-to-consumer companies. I know Snell's coming out with some new models this year, but they weren't at the show. Legato, I saw Ben there. Ben's their marketing guy, and I saw him at the show. We happened to bump into each other, but they didn't have a booth. So I didn't get to talk to him really about what's going on or any of that. PXG doesn't have a new ball coming out. They're just going to ride with what they got. I don't blame them, because you've got a golf ball that's like been in the top 10 the last 2 years on this channel. So why change it if nothing's broken? They're selling like hotcakes. They're great value. They're an excellent ball. They're getting all this recognition. So why change it? But that's all that I have really off the top of my head. As far as, direct to consumer brands, there might be a couple other ones, but that's all I can remember. Hogan. Ben Hogan is coming out with a 4-piece traditional style firm golf ball. And a lot of you have asked me about that. I got in contact with them. I met them at the show, the representative, and said, hey, I had a lot of requests for these. And so I think he's going to send me the McGregor golf balls. I think he's going to send me the Ram golf balls. And I think he's going to send me that new Hogan. So that'll be really cool too. What is going on? Yes. I saw you hit a club in your short at the show, which had 4 what looked like adjustable weights. What was this? Hit a club that had 4 adjustable weights. Was it indoors or outdoors? Was it like on the outdoor range or what? Because I'm just trying to remember. I need to look up that video again. Let me pull that up over here and see if I can get it. And that'll kind of help me out too. Let's see. We'll go here. Oh, hey, there's 5. No, I don't need that. I need shorts. There we go. I'm watching short live. Indoor. That was a driver from Yonex, which, by the way, we'll talk about that. That was incredible. Yonex is a brand I had not heard of. I don't think you're talking about bucket golf. Yeah, there's just me talking. I'm not hitting again. I think I know what it is. I just want to verify before I tell you. Yes. Okay. 3. You're probably talking about the one with 3 right here, indoor. Let me verify that here. Indoor. Okay. That was Edel. I hope I said that correctly. I'm so bad at butchering that, but Edel, E-D-A-L, E-D-E-E-L. Bryson, I guess. E-D-E-L. And I guess Bryson DeChambeau was tinkering with one of their putters a few years ago, and their putter is known for having like this ting. It's like a really loud ting sound. They cut all the holes out of the back of the putter, and I guess Bryson was really into like club design with them for a minute. I don't know the whole story, but I tested their direct-to-consumer clubs and was pretty impressed. Very traditional-like, feels like a traditional kind of blade with like a hint of modernization. Really great looking club, a really great group as far as passionate and wanted to show me everything. And they're really excited about what they have. So yeah, that was something I was really impressed with. When I come out with the video on that in a few days where it's about the clubs, I hope you check that out, because I had a chance to talk with them a little bit and it was fun. Super interested in the ShotScope LM1 thoughts. I've had so many questions about that. And look, the reality is this: when it comes to the ShotScope LM1, if you're not familiar, it is a launch monitor for consumer use, indoor, outdoor, very small, portable, take it wherever you want. And essentially it's $200 retail. Now, if it's accurate, which we won't know until they release and until we actually get more, real testing, not just them marketing, right? If that holds true, and it is even 90 to 95% accurate, I think it's a no-brainer for almost every single golfer. I think the market needed this really bad, because up until this point, a few years ago, it was like $500 would get you in the door. If you wanted a nice consumer model that was just okay, $500 would do it. And then, there's a couple like the Swing Caddy SC300i I loved, and it was $400. So you said, okay, I can get it for $400. And then there was another one for like $350, but you had to put your phone on it. If this thing's legit and the numbers are good and it comes out at $200, I don't see any reason that 75% of golfers shouldn't have one with a net in their backyard. You can get your yardages. I mean, I know it doesn't do spin. I get that, but you're going to be able to get your yardages. You're going to be able to practice with it. It's such a great practice tool, and you cannot beat the price. I think it'll disrupt the industry. I really do. Isn't Ben Hogan out with a golf ball? They are releasing a golf ball this year. It is called, give me a second because it's got a very interesting name. But it is a 4-piece model. I just talked about it, but very traditional. They are trying to be very firmer, clickier, which I think is a harder market, to be honest with you, especially in the direct-to-consumer space. But the GS53, that's what it's called. But I'll tell you what, they nailed the logo. The alignment tool, not so much. But the logo looks professional. It's got that cursive. It looks traditional. They put that Ben Hogan like sun, I guess is the only way I could call it, with the BH in the middle. It is a darn good looking golf ball. And I hope it does well. I hope it really does. It MSRPs at $49.99. So already, you know, it's firm, it's clicky, it's expensive. So I'm a little nervous, but boy, it looks good. I would love for it to test really well. So I should be getting those this year. Yes, Edeline. Yes, thank you very much. Any info on the Legato LTX 4090? I don't have any at the moment. You know, even when I had my one-on-one with Legato, I don't think they mentioned anything about it. I don't know that there's any plans currently to come back out with that. Let me see here. It's 4090. Yeah, I don't know if they have plans. I can ask Ben the next time I can email him or something and see if there's any plans for that. But at the moment, I haven't heard a thing. I haven't heard a drop. I think they're really focused on their 3085. It's blowing up. People are using it. Everyone loves it. Most people love it. You know, I think right now they're just kind of riding the wave. I don't blame them. Have you hit the new 26 Callaway golf balls at the show? No, they did not have the golf balls for hitting, unfortunately. I did get to see the boxes, but that was it. I'm surprised Callaway is as tight as they were. Callaway was really private. They weren't really on demo day. Like they kind of did. It was in the Top Tracer booth where you could kind of hit them, but you had to be somebody. They didn't just have a normal booth. And then when you came inside, they had like a really big area, but again, it's not where you can really hit much. They had a tiny little area in the back. They weren't, for some reason, they were kind of locked up a little bit. Like they didn't want just anybody in there. And I think that's because they know everyone's going to want to try us, but it's a shame because I didn't get the chance to really hit much Callaway or do much anything Callaway. As far as their golf balls, again, I've heard rumors. People keep saying, oh yeah, they're wonderful. 4 mile an hour difference. It's hard for me to believe because you're talking about 3 golf balls that were all in the top 15 for top 100. One of them was number 1. One of them was number 5, I think, or whatever. How can it get that much better? You know, you're already top 5. You're already number 1. You're telling me somehow I could get an extra 3 mile an hour ball speed? I'll believe it when I see it, but I'm hoping. I have my fingers crossed. Did you see anything from the Japanese market brands? Yeah. So when it comes to the Japanese market brands, let's start with some basics, right? Bridgestone had their clubs. I wish they would advertise them more. They're excellent clubs. I don't know why they don't pound the marketing more for them. Mizuno had a really good showing. Last year, I was disappointed in Mizuno because I tested their clubs and I thought, man, what's the hype? You know, there were guys next to me that couldn't contain their giddiness. They'd hit one and just giggle like a schoolgirl and they'd, you know, and I'm like, I just don't get it. I'm hitting it and I'm like, it doesn't feel that great, you know, and then I'd hit a muscle back and the guy next to me would hit a muscle back and just faint and just fall backwards. And I'm like, I don't feel that. I don't get it. It doesn't feel good to me. Maybe it's just a, you know, preference thing, right? But this year was opposite. This year I hit some of the new Mizuno, you know, irons. I hit, you know, I think they have a new muscle back maybe. I'm trying to remember from memory. But I was really impressed. I really was. But there was one thing I was super impressed with, and that was when I saw the new driver. And I'm sure some of you have heard about it. It looks a 10 out of 10. It sounds a 10 out of 10. It performs a 10 out of 10. That driver is amazing. Now, some of you will remember, if you've been on the channel long enough, I used to have one of the older Mizuno drivers. I think it was the 220. Then they came out with the 230, and it's been kind of quiet for a couple of years. I loved my 220. I just had to get rid of it. It was just time. I'm really excited about this new one. It's fantastic. It's twice the driver that my 220 was. Got a beautiful, crisp blue face, little design in there. There's a lot of attention to detail. Sounds great. Ball explodes off the face. As long as they price it correctly, you'll want to keep it on your radar, 1,000%. There was another brand called Yonex, Yonex, and I had never heard of it before, you know, and Alex kind of looked at me and he was like, let's go check it out at least. And when they saw the camera, there was this Japanese gentleman. He came over and immediately saw the camera and was like, hey, you know, have you tried the new driver yet? Can I tell you about it? I said, of course, and there was so much passion there. And I was like, who are these guys? I don't know who they are. And he sets up this driver. He fits it. He takes me over to the side in a little private booth. He lets me hit it. And as soon as my driver made contact, I thought, my goodness, that's good. Like that's not good. That's great. And I looked at Alex and I was like, who are these? I've never heard of them, had a chance to go in the next day. They had a booth indoors as well. I hit their irons. I'm really impressed. And before I left, my big thing was, well, what do they cost? Because you're talking about Yonex. It sounds Japanese, right? I mean, it sounds, and I again, I don't know where the clubs are made. I don't know much about them. I'm still doing some research. I'm going to pull them up over here just so I can kind of tell you. But what I was really surprised with is when I saw the price, because hold on. I'm so sorry. I can't multitask. You know how it is being a guy. You can't. There we go. Right there. So the drivers come out at $300, and yeah, that's worth it for what I hit. Absolutely. I would pay that. They had these forged irons. They have a muscle back that is about $800 for a set, which that's on the more expensive side, but they're forged. Cavity backs are $460 for an iron set. I would gladly pay that. I loved hitting them. I thought it was great. Again, I'll have more video on that in a few days. So that brand was really good. Obviously I wish I had seen something from like Hanma, but they're never there. But I'd say that's kind of the big of it. But Mizuno, golf ball wise, kind of fell flat because they don't have anything this year so far. But club wise, I was very impressed. I'd say it's probably my favorite part of the club testing was those right there. Oh boy, lots of comments. I love them too. I'll try to kind of start going a little quicker now because you guys are I love it. I absolutely love it. Did you happen to check out the Blue Tees $5.99 launch monitor? Thoughts? I didn't get to Blue Tees, unfortunately. I'm sorry about that. I will do some research and see what I can do. I did not have a chance to get there. We only had one day that we were at the expo portion of it, and I just didn't get there. ShotScope LM1 review if you can. I definitely should. As many people who have emailed me and asked about it, I probably should. The Ben Hogan balls usually spin like crazy. Well, we'll find out. I mean, it's a 4-piece, right? And it's a traditional, so I bet it probably does, but we'll see. We'll see how they do. Is there a new Tour Edge 2-piece golf ball out? I saw it advertised. It doesn't come out yet. I think it comes out February 5th or something like that, but there is a model coming. It is a 2-piece, and if it's half as good, as their regular golf ball, look out. Look out. I heard TaylorMade is dropping new TP5 and TP5X next month. Now, Ronnie, you're probably right, and I'm going to be a little salty for a second. I wouldn't know because they weren't at the show, and they never are. Why? You're one of the top 3, top 4 golf ball brands, golf club brands, Scotty Scheffler, Tiger Woods playing your clubs. I don't get it. I don't get it. I really don't. I mean, I wish someone could explain it to me. It feels like TaylorMade is almost like we're too good for it. And maybe that's a reach. And if it is, I'm sorry. But why aren't you there? Because now I have no information, right? I'd love to tell you about the new TP5 golf balls. Not going to because I have no idea. I'd love to tell you about the new TaylorMade clubs coming out. Couldn't tell you what they are. The PGA show is such a great way to put your product in people's hands and say, listen, feel this, look at it, look at the attention to detail, look at the premium materials, feel it, the weighting, whatever it is. And for some reason, 2 years in a row now, TaylorMade's like, we're good. So we'll see. Haven't seen you in a while. It's about time for some Golf Ball Addict. Yep, it had been about a week. I just was all prepared for the show. So that's kind of what I've been doing. So thank you for waiting. If you buy the new version of the 3085, they are listed on the back to compare. See, that's so weird. Why? I don't get Legato. I'll ask Ben about it. I'll the back of the box. Okay, I'll ask Ben and see what I can find out. I bought the new Revolution and was going to play them today, but it's 22 degrees in Texas. Bummed. Well, Ronnie, I got bad news. I just got done playing golf. We just got back about an hour ago. I was sweating. It was like 85 degrees. And I'm not trying to flex on you, but like it was hot. It was the first time all winter we had gone outside and we were sweating. We were like, holy cow, it's hot out here. So I know some of the countries experiencing ice right now. So I feel for you. I pray for you. But yeah, it was 85 today. I tested the 2026 Chrome Tour and I really liked it. Longer, straighter. Okay, cool. One of the best putting balls. Excellent. I hope it is. I hope it's even better because right now it sets the bar. It's number 1, it's number 5, it's number 15, whatever it is. And I would love for it to set the bar even higher. So I hope it does. That'd be awesome. Yonex was a real big name 20 years ago. Interesting. Well, I got to say, Yonex surprised me a lot with their clubs, but also with their passion. They love what they do. Those guys and passion's a big part of how I kind of judge a company. You know, when I am meeting you for the first time or I'm talking to you about your product, there was some booths I went into where I was like, tell me about your product. And it's like how you guys like me, right? You like me because I'm so passionate about golf balls. Most of you anyway, right? You're like, I love the passion on your face. That's how it is there. I'm like, tell me about your clubs. And they get all excited and their eyes light up and they explain it. I love that because that means you care. I know that you're doing everything in your power to make these as best as possible. But then there was some booths I went in, golf ball, club, accessory, whatever. And I'll call one of them out, just, not to be mean, but just Reload, the company that does the golf balls that are recycled or whatever. They dive and they pick them up and they sell them used or whatever. That guy acted like he did not want me there. And maybe that was just his personality, nothing against him. But I was like, hey, what can you tell my golf ball addicts about what you do and why it's so great? And he was just like, there's golf balls and we pick them and then we sell them. Okay, maybe some guys aren't good on camera. I get that. But where's the passion? I mean, give me a little bit, right? So anyway, that's what I was really impressed with about Yonex. They were just so passionate and they just kept asking people, test this, feel it, tell us. I love that part of it. Hey, how you doing there? Cheers all. Yes, you're in almost every live, my friend. I appreciate that. Yonex still big in the racket space. Okay, I didn't know that. I just noticed when I was on here that they sell those, so I didn't even know that, but I appreciate that. That's awesome. Ordered a new PXG Lightning 10K Max driver. Got a great deal on it. Golf season can't get here soon enough. Well, would you like to know my opinion on it? Because I got to do an in-depth testing on it when I was at the PXG booth, so I can tell you if you might have already hit it or whatever, so you might already know. But it's awesome. It's awesome. It is super forgiving. There was a couple times I hit it off the toe, and I thought, that's in the weeds, and I lost like 10 yards. And I mean, it had that big hook, because it was off the toe. I lost almost nothing. It felt phenomenal. The weighting on it's awesome. It's a darn good driver. You're going to love it. I can't wait to hear your thoughts. Any updates on your indoor setup? Hopefully it'll be this year. The last 7 months, unfortunately, have been very rough. Just because, whatever, personal issues. I went full-time on the channel. My wife works part-time, because we have to watch the kids. We have 2 kids under 3. And then, my mom had, been in between jobs. And so we just kind of hit this moment where financially we had to recoup. I don't know when the indoor simulator will be. It's got to be this year for sure, because I can't. There was a day, the other day I went out to do cold testing, right? And I go out there, it's like 40 degrees in the morning. There's a pool of water in my net outside and you can't really get it out. I mean, you can, but it's a pain because like, where do I put it? Where do I squeegee it? I don't want to touch it. It's cold. It's freezing water. It's got ice on it. Every time I hit the golf ball, it would just roll into the water and I'd have to get it out. And it's just, I know that sounds kind of like silly, but it turns something that should take 20 minutes and makes it like an hour and a half. I've got to get the indoor set up, and I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but I'll figure it out one way or the other. Might just have to write a hot check. We'll see. So excited about the Ben Hogan golf ball. Love their stuff, even though I'm a hacker. Yeah, no, absolutely. It'll still be fun to review it. It'll be fun. I hope they do well. We haven't seen a Ben Hogan ball in like 15 years, so I would love for it to be good. TaylorMade sticks to the West Coast. Well, that makes it worse because now it's like a turf battle. You know what I mean? Like you're going to disrespect my turf because it's not good enough for you. All right. Next TP5 ball, I'm going to be like, guys, it's the worst golf ball ever. It's 120th. You know, I don't tell you all of them. You know, I don't tell you. It's weird. Just kidding. It's great to see the old brands coming back. McGregor, Ben Hogan would like to see Daiwas. I'm not familiar with Daiwas. I'll have to look that up. I've seen you reviews on the Snell 3.0. Would you prefer to play the Snell 3.0 versus a Callaway Chrome Tour if price was no object? I would play the Chrome Tour for sure. Snell's in a really rough spot. The good news is, though, Snell is dropping new models. I think it's April. I think they're coming out with all brand new models in either April or May. I'd have to look at the email. But so we'll see. Maybe Snell has figured it out. I'd love for them to even get back somewhat to what they were, but we might be a long ways off. I don't know. Did you see what your friend's specs are from the Ping website? Not yet, but we're going to. We actually talked about that a little bit today. We're going to measure when we can and figure that out. And I appreciate everyone who commented on that and helping him out and figuring that out. Sorry for calling him short. That really seemed to upset a lot of people. I'm 6'1", and sometimes I forget that like the average male height is 5'9", 5'10". The amount of people who are like 5'9" isn't short, and I'm like, I did not mean it that way. I am sorry. I was just trying to. He's shorter than me. You know what I mean? I have to look down at him a little bit. So to me, he's short, but I understand it's not. I wasn't trying to insult anybody. So I'm sorry if there was some feathers ruffled, but. Hi, Nick. This is Golf Addict. Yes, I do recognize the picture. That launch monitor by Scope looks awesome. Oh, yeah, they'll sell out. And $199, it'll probably be a while before I can get one, unfortunately. I've been able to find Wilson Boost the last time I've been at Walmart, which is hilarious because they're out of stock. They're in stock. They're out of stock. I don't know what's going on with the Wilson Boost. I really don't. If you can find them, awesome, great. If by April they're still in stores, I'm going to consider them still in production. If not, we'll see. I don't know. Just got back an hour ago from golfing, about 65 degrees, San Francisco Bay Area. That's awesome. Yeah, great. I hope you played well too. Great day. Thinking of getting the new TaylorMade QI Max HL iron 7 through gap wedge. I'm 61 years old and the time to go to a more forgiving club. Currently have the PXG Gen 6 and it's time to change. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. You know, high launch irons are pretty cool. Interesting enough, make sure you still go hit them and test them beforehand because there were certain golf brands, and obviously I didn't get to test TaylorMade. They weren't there, but I was really surprised how many golf brands would say high launch, right? And I would hit them and they'd be a low launch. And I don't know if that's a shaft fitting, if that's a swing thing. But like Srixon was the one off the top of my head. I remember Srixon has a couple new high launch clubs and I put one down and I looked at Alex and I said, hey man, this is a high launch. I said, this thing should get really up in the air. You know, it was like a pitching wedge I was hitting. And he goes, oh, okay, I'm ready. And I hit it and that thing looked like a line drive. And I said, I must have mishit it. Hit it again, line drive. And I was like, well, wait a minute. Am I hitting it wrong? So I said, let me try blading one. I bladed one and it barely got off the ground. It was like just barely off the ground. And I thought, this is a low launch club. And I said, Alex, you try hitting it. He hits it, launches ultra low. And so just be careful with that because even though they say a high launch, maybe you're playing it for the forgiveness and you don't care about the launch. But it was weird to me how many I tested. It wasn't just Srixon either, where I tested clubs and I'm like, oh, high launch. So this is supposed to really get up in the air. Why won't it get 2 feet above the ground? I'm confused. So anyway, just be on the lookout for that. Not PGA show related, but any thoughts on the Southern Hills Plantation being bought out by Heritage? I was considering a membership there, but it may be more tempting with cross club benefits. They got sold right as I left. I mean, like, I'm not kidding you. I left, I think it was like Monday was my final day, and they got sold on that Saturday. It was less than a week. Great golf course. Love the people there. It's worth a membership for sure. I don't know what the price of it is, so I can't really tell you like if it's worth the value or not. The course is beautiful. There's unlike anything else out there. That's all I can tell you really, because I don't know what the value are as far as the, benefits. And unfortunately, as a worker there, they really didn't allow me to know much, and experience much. They said, hey, you could play golf for free only at this time, basically. And that was really it. And that's not a crack at them. It's just, I don't know much about any of that. So I wish I had more information for you. Are you going to share the results and feedback from your survey? Yes, I will. I've got to go through it still. I've got so much. I'm so backlogged. I'm just one person, and I hate having so many ideas and just not being able to have all of them come to fruition, which is why this year, I will tell you one thing from the survey that going forward, I think I've mentioned this before, but I think going forward this year, I'm going to keep the clubs I have now for testing and just keep rolling with our list and updating it, because otherwise I have to go through and review every single golf ball again. And the problem with that is we already have reviews for them. I'm all for retesting if we need to, but I want to spend more more in depth and more time on doing on-course reviews, playing 9 holes with a golf ball. I want to do slow swing reviews. I want to do fast swing reviews. I want to get more data. I want to do white versus yellow versus drip versus, alignment aid, half and half, whatever. I want to do all that stuff, used golf balls versus not used golf balls. And it feels like because every year I change the clubs up and I have to review every golf ball again, I don't have time for that. That would require, just in golf ball test alone, if I do one a day and I test 120 golf balls, that's a third of the year. And that's if I do it every day, right? No days off. And so I just don't think it's realistic to go forward and do that anymore. So my point is, one thing I did take away from the survey is that I do need to branch out, not with my content as far as clubs or, vlogs for fun, because obviously some of you guys didn't really care for that, which that's fine. Or even some of the like funnier short films I've done, those bomb, but that's okay. I make them for me, because it's fun to mix it up. But I think I need to branch out and do more experiments with the golf balls we know and love, because we still have a bunch of questions about them. Is there a difference? How much difference is there between matte and regular? How much difference is there between a yellow ball and a regular? What about Vice? Vice is an interesting one, right? Because the white versus the green versus the yellow versus the drip versus the limited edition versus the moon rock that they just announced, which is all glittery and you can't even look at it because it's so shiny and it's so cool. There has to be a performance difference. And I haven't been able to dive into that. And so that's what I really want to focus on this year is keep the list we have, continue to test golf balls with the same metrics and the same, things we've been doing, but add fast swing, add slow swing, and add more experiments. Does this golf ball spin more if it's colored, as far as green or red or whatever? I want to know. And so that's kind of the direction I'm heading. I'd love to know your thoughts, but I think that's a great thing. Also got the PXG Lightning 4 wood, 9 wood, 11 wood. They were smoking. Yep, I'm sure they were. That's awesome. That's awesome. You're going to love those clubs. Did you see the grip that measures your grip pressure? Or what do you think? I feel like a lot of people would be super conscious of it and adjust pressure, what they think. Yeah, okay. I did not see that, but that's a great idea because grip pressure is something I think everybody struggles with. There's so many things to think about in the swing that sometimes you just don't realize that you're supposed to have light grip on the golf club. I did it today. The first couple holes, I'm trying to get loose. We didn't get a chance to warm up. We get there. I pulled them left. And when I got done pulling, I think it was hole 3, I pulled another one and I thought, where's this pull coming from? And I kind of just like felt my body for a second. And I went, wait a minute, why is this arm so strained? And this one like feels light. And I said, oh, my left arm. I said, I must have really snapped that down. And then I realized I was gripping the club tight. And when I was coming down, I was really gripping with this left forearm and hitting into it and awful. And as soon as I realized it, I went back to a light grip, immediately came back, nice smooth swing, striped it. But you don't realize you're doing that sometimes. You just don't. There's just too much in a golf swing going on. And the goal of it's so funny. There's a million things going on, but yet the best advice is, hey, relax. Don't think about it. Just swing. Oh, okay. Yeah. I only got 50 things to remember, but also just don't even worry about it. So I'll have to look into that, but that's a great idea. Did you get to hit the new Bridgestone line at PGA Store? Are they giving you that pop the next gen does? Great question. So when it comes to the brand new 2026 Bridgestone Tour B lineup, there's a lot of hype behind them, rightfully so. I am in the process right now of testing the numbers to see how they do. I have already filmed and done a 18-hole on-course testing with Alex. We did it as a pair and tested them all together. They are very close to the next gen ball. Absolutely. They feel like the next gen ball. And that's why a lot of people, I did have some questions. They were like, how come you hate Bridgestone golf balls so much as far as the feel, but you love the next gen? It's made by the same company. Well, because one, I think there is a difference between the Japan and the American factory, but this is why, because they were different. And now it's a much closer feeling and the performance is excellent. I think it's very close to my next gen ball. Now, of course, it's going to depend on which model you want because all the models are different, right? I have a favorite. There's the RX, the RXS, the X. So it depends. But as far as that feeling, it's very close. Bridgestone, I will be releasing some reviews here in the next couple weeks as far as the regular testing, the slow testing, the fast testing, the on-course testing. You should know everything you need to know here in a couple weeks for sure. Because of your golf ball listing, I'm stocking up on Callaway Chrome Tour balls and Chrome Softs for cooler weather. Tried last year's and they were awesome. 26 version is supposed to be better. Yep. I'm going to be testing those ASAP as well. I get tons of requests. Nick, were there any clubs that you were really impressed by or that really wowed you? Yes. My three favorite clubs. One was the Yonex driver. Really just surprised the heck out of me. I loved the Cobra 3D printed irons. I forget the model name. It's that main one they have. That's like the player's iron, basically. Really soft, subtle, great feel. It's not obnoxious with the feedback. That really impressed me. Edel's clubs were really interesting because they felt like traditional blades. So like, Edel was Edel. I'm sorry. I don't know if it's Edel or Edel, but really good. I love that. I'm trying to think if there was any other. Mizuno irons were awesome this year. Like I said, was there anything else that wowed me? Vice had, it was kind of funny. Vice had a brand new model of iron that I tried, the VGI 03. VGI 03 is not for me. VGI 01 I tried, which is the game improvement iron, not for me. But it was hilarious. I got out the VGI 02, which remember, I did a review on those. I ended up not caring for them because once I found out what they were about as far as the spin and they're a distance iron and all that stuff, it's not suited for me. But I picked one back up for fun and hit it. Fell in love again. I love that iron. I mean, I know again, the review wasn't great, right? But the whole point of the review was that I was excited in the beginning. And when I discovered the numbers, I was a little disappointed. The reality of those clubs are they are meant for someone who is wanting exceptional distance and who is a high spin player. That's not me. So unfortunately, they don't work, but it doesn't mean they don't feel good. And boy, did they feel good. Wow. That VGI 02, as far as the feels, one of the best feeling clubs I hit by far. Putter wise, I was really impressed with a couple of the off brands like, one I think is called Next Level. Another one was called like Gravity Putters. Those are pretty cool. Mizuno putters I wasn't big into. Lab I wasn't super impressed with, which, mainly because of the price. I just thought it was going to be more wowzer than that, and it just wasn't. I did like Cobra's putters. Those are pretty good. Ping still makes a great putter. No one wants to talk about Ping putters, and I'll tell you what, they're pretty good. And they have a new series coming out this year that's really good too. So I'm hoping some people talk about them again. Nick, which driver surprised you either positively or negatively? PXG was definitely positive. The Mizuno, super positive. Vice driver, I wasn't big on. I wouldn't call it negative necessarily, but it's not for me. What's another one? Strixon driver is pretty good. Strixon actually makes a really good driver, which is surprising. Cobra driver, phenomenal. They continue. I don't like the look of it, but yeah, it feels really good. I don't like the look of modern drivers. It feels like a few years ago, you know, drivers weren't afraid to pop a little color. You know, you had the Epic from Callaway, which was green. You know, you had the Cobra F9, which looked like a race car. It was yellow and black with a red stripe. Now, if I'm not kidding you, if you put all the golf drivers next to each other in a line without reading them, you wouldn't know what they are. They all look the same. They're all black, 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 carbon, carbon, trying to make it look all just blacked out and steel. And you can't tell the difference. In fact, we actually at one point were where I think it was demo day where a bunch of them were stacked up. And I mean, you have to read them. You don't know what they are. You can't look at it like you used to and go, oh yeah, that's the Cobra. Or, oh yeah, hey, that's the Callaway. You can't. You have to read what it is. Otherwise, you don't know. They all look the same. And I hate that. I hate that. That throws some personality in there. I mean, my gosh, that's why I liked. So one of the reasons I really liked the Yonex driver was because it was like white with like a white checkerboard on top, and it had carbon, and the face was all like, it was so cool. It was unique. It was personable. Yeah. I wish they'd let me hit the Bridgestone driver again this year, because that was my favorite driver from last year, was the Japan one that wasn't in the American market. But I tried to go over there and use it, and they stopped me. They were like, no, these aren't for sale. And I was like, well, no, I know. I said, I know it's, but I want to hit it. And they were like, no. And I was like, get the guy from last year, Jackson, back over here. He was cool. He let me hit him. You know, this guy was just doing golf ball fittings, but yeah. I have a 78-mile-an-hour swing. Every two-piece I try feels like a brick. I want to test torque response in Strixon soft feel. Would Strixon be better for me? Does it feel like a brick? No, you'll want to stick to something really soft. I would try. Don't be afraid to try like the Bridgestone Electron, or even the Vice Junior Tour. Tour, not Pro, Tour. I know those are junior balls, but they're very soft. They're really low compression. They just explode off the club face. I don't think you'll have an issue with that at all. There's also like the Radiance from Volvic, very bouncy, soft. The Wilson, now see, I'm not big on it, but other people tell me it's great. The Wilson Duo, because it's like a 30 compression or 40 compression. That's also one that would be really, really soft. But if you're finding that a lot of two-piece golf balls feel like bricks, I would probably stay really low compression, 50 or lower, and see what that does for you. But don't sleep on the Bridgestone Electron or the Vice Junior Tour. Those were two of my favorite two-piece models this year, and they are very, very soft, very, forgiving as well. Here we go. Speaking of on-course review, some of us in the comments thought it was funny you and your friend didn't tell us what ball you were playing. Right. So the thing with that video, that was just supposed to be a vlog. It was supposed to just be me and Alex going out to see if we could break some records. I didn't want to do a golf ball testing. I spent 365 days doing golf ball stuff. I wanted a break. I wanted a day off. I wanted something different. Some of you were just kind of like laughing and like, oh yeah, hey, you didn't tell us what golf ball you were playing. And I was like, well, it was kind of irrelevant. That's not what the video is about. Some of you were kind about it, was like, hey, listen, this is a golf ball channel. And I get that. I got a few emails from people who were like, don't you ever do this again. They were like, you are the golf ball guy. If I want to watch golf, I have a guy. If I want club reviews, I have a guy. You are the golf ball guy. And I was kind of like, I was a little disappointed because I felt like I was kind of being put into a box. And I was like, well, so what? I can never do anything that's not golf ball related. I was like, that's kind of silly. Like nothing that's not golf ball related. So anyway, I'm not hurt about it. That video was just supposed to be for fun. That's all it was. It was supposed to be, everyone likes vlogs. Everyone watches, YouTube golf. I wanted it to show me and Alex, because a lot of you, I just wanted to show our personalities. I wanted to show what we're like talking to each other. It was just supposed to be something different for a change of pace. And if some of you enjoyed it, I hope you did. And if you didn't, I understand. I get it. I know that the majority of you are here for golf balls, and that's fine. If you don't like it, just move on. Those videos are so rare. It is what it is. So I apologize if that threw some of you for a loop. Are you planning on more golfing outings? I'm not sure what that means. Like, you mean, I'm not sure what that means by outings. You mean playing more, or just like going to locations to film? I'm not sure. Please let me know. I'd love to answer that question. Have you tried the Wilson Duo Saw? Oh, yeah. Okay. So he's yeah, okay. Thank you. Daryl, I'm playing the Strixon song. Okay, excellent. I love everyone helping that guy out. Thank you so much. Titleist True Feel, also very nice. Yes, True Feel. I don't know if the Titleist True Feel has a new model this year, but they do have a new alignment tool, which is pretty cool as well. Be on the lookout for that. I got some previous model Tour BX for Christmas, Tiger Woods branded, but I'm 85-mile-an-hour swinger, so I want to check those new RX and the new versions. Well, I don't want to give it away, but you're going to like the new RX pretty well. I'll just say that. I saw on the Hanma Amazon page, they listed a bunch of different golf balls. Yes, and I am going to try to get those tested this year. I actually had someone who's nice enough, the same person who sent me the original Hanma balls, they sent me a couple other ones that are like the I forget what it's called. Forgive me, but really good as far as the quality. One of them's even gold. I'm going to be doing a lot of testing with those this year for sure. And again, that's why I want to continue the list and continue the clubs, because there's just so many more golf balls I haven't tried. You know, I don't want to have to restart that list over. Edel pronounced Adele. Adele, really? It's not Edel, it's Adele. Huh. I'll take your word for it. Interesting. So I'm a double moron. I didn't even have it right out of the two I had. Did PXGs change their balls for 2026? I think they're rolling with the same models. I do. I asked everyone at the booth, and it was weird. No one could give me an answer. Like, and a lot of them were sales ladies, and so I get that. And they're all very nice there. They love PXG. They're very passionate. But like, I asked a couple, and they were like, we have golf balls," and I was like, no big deal, you know, but I don't think they are. And I don't think they need to change right now, to be honest with you. They're getting so much praise across the board, and they're $35 a dozen. Ride the wave as long as you can. That's what I would do. The Cobra 3DP irons are amazing. I hope they do a one length version. I play Cobra one length tech. Yeah, they are. They were really good. I was really surprised with all the 3D printed stuff from Cobra. I thought at first I was kind of like, what are you trying to do here? I mean, I know you're trying to be different, but I don't know how it's going to land. Stuck the landing. 10 out of 10. Cobra usually launches a lot of funky colorways in limited edition. They do. You're right. That is one thing I like about Cobra. They usually do like the limited editions and the cool, like palm trees or whatever on their driver head. And I give them credit for that. So that part's good. But man, it's still kind of like, it's kind of like how cars are. You know, my grandpa, some of you older guys will get this for sure, but my grandpa always tells me all the time, back in my day, I could look at a car and just tell you what it was. I don't need to see the logo. I don't need to see the number. I can look at the back right fender and then boom, I know what it is. And he goes, nowadays they all just look the same. And some of that's true or whatever. Obviously, some of it's different. You can tell, I hope you can tell a Cybertruck from a different, you know, car, but it's kind of like that with golf clubs. I feel like now it's just getting into the space where like they're all shaped the same, right? Because they all have the 460cc head. So they're all shaped the same. They all pretty much look the same. Like, throw in some color, please. The Snyder on course vlog interview was great. It was. I love that. That was some of the best content I got to do, you know, be one-on-one with those guys. Dude, what the F? It's your channel. You already do the golf balls post. Yeah, and I do. I post whatever I want. I just you can never make everybody happy, and I know that, right? And so that's why it's one of those things where if I post something like that, just skip over it. You know, if it's a golf ball review you want to see, you can watch it. I appreciate that. I love all the subscribers. But, you know, sometimes you're going to see something wacky and funny and, you know, just entertainment. You know what I mean? Like I did still go to film school, so I still do have a love to make like short films. When I did that broomstick review, I know it was really corny. I know it was slapstick. I know it was scary movie-esque, you know, like scary movie, disaster movie, whatever you want to call it, like really that slapstick humor, but I like that stuff. You know what I mean? And so I'm going to post it, and I only post it once every little bit, you know, and if you don't want to watch it, that's cool. But I thought it was funny. I really enjoyed it. It's funny. You should watch me editing that. Like when I was editing that broomstick review, I was giggling the entire time. It was almost hard to get through because I was giggling so much. Anyway, it was a good time. I'm glad I did it. Adel to be more exact. So it's Adel. Interesting. Adel. I always thought it was Edel too. Interesting. All right. I know it's nowhere near as important, but I hope you'll considering 2 or 3 of the most popular range balls. I know there's lots of. It'd be cool. Yes. So there's actually going to be, and this was actually Snyder's idea. I was really glad they actually brought up a really good idea because Snyder, if you missed the interview, they make a lot of the range golf balls over in Sweden, I want to say, and people like the range ball so much that like apparently they're going and playing, or not playing, but going and practicing 2 to 3 times more than they were because they replaced these crappy range balls with these Snyder range balls. And apparently people are like loving them. And so Snyder said, well, would you be willing to test our range ball? And I said, well, of course I'll test any ball. I said, but I've had a lot of requests about range balls. I said, maybe I could just do a whole range ball testing where I test a really old one from a local muni and then like, you know, a modern one, a new one, and then like maybe one from Snyder and see what they do. I'd love to know the numbers on them because I know some of them really spin a lot. Then you've got like Cabot Citrus Farms that uses TP5s. That must be nice. All right. Yep, great idea. Maybe Adel, not Adel. Maybe not Adel, but Adel. Adel. Okay. Adel. That makes more sense. Adele made no sense because there was no A in there. And Adele's a singer, and I that was making no sense. But yeah, no, that's good. I think it is Adele. I think Adel is probably what it is. So I think we're getting closer. Perfect. Well, that's through all the comments. Now, I hope I'm not missing any of them because I do have it on live chat, which is all of them. And I did something nice for you all. I don't know if you noticed it or not, but there's no ads on this video. And I did that for you guys because I know with lives, it's like you have to keep getting interrupted. I didn't want to do that. So I did not do live. I did not do monetization this time. You're welcome. That's my little gift. That's my New Year gift to you all. No live or no ads on this video. So you don't have to constantly try to catch up. What about the Squishy Competition 2-piece shootout? It's coming. Keep in mind, this year I'm also going to be doing a lot of slow testing. And so that's going to be along with fast testing. And so we'll know more. We'll figure it out. I don't know if we'll have a Squishy Competition per se. I'm hoping to, but if not, we will test a bunch of golf balls from a slow swinger perspective, and we will have that. So that's going to be really cool to have a spreadsheet for slow swingers, have a spreadsheet for mid swingers, have a spreadsheet for, you know, how much of it will I get done this year? I don't know. You know, it's a lot of testing, but I'm going to test my heart out. Hopefully we can get there. Did you confront Vice about the lack of grip, bite, and on the Pro Series? Yeah, great question. I did talk to a couple of them about it. They seemed perplexed. They seemed genuinely like, that's weird. They did want to know more. What they asked for essentially was additional testing. And I think that's fair. They were like, can you do any additional testing? Can you go out on the course? Can you, because they're like, we would love to know about it, but we're not sure. So can you just get us more information? And so they're interested in it. They did, like I say, seem genuinely flabbergasted by it. They were upset, and these guys are passionate about golf balls. So when I told them that was happening, they seemed genuinely bummed. So we'll do more testing. We'll test with the colored golf balls as far as your drip and your designs and all that stuff. If we do that, and thank you, Kevin. Kevin just paid for everybody's commercial. So thank you so much, Kevin. I appreciate that. So hopefully we can get that figured out with Vice. We'll test all the different colorways and stuff and see what's going on and hopefully go from there. And maybe we'll find out more information. It's still disappointing though. If you ever find your way to the Alabama Robert Trent Jones Golf Course Trail Birmingham, I'd love to host you for a round. You know what's funny is I've driven through that, so I would love to come up there. That's not super far from where I'm at, so we'll be in touch. Any chance of testing inexpensive launch monitors? Sure. I do about 1 or 2 reviews on a launch monitor a year. The last couple have been because they sent them to me and that makes it easier. But this year, I think I am going to try to reach out to more companies and say, listen, this is what I do. Can I borrow it? send it back or test it, whatever, buy it, discount, whatever, just to see, because that's something that a lot of people need. Everyone needs to know their distances. Everyone needs to know if they're getting better, if they're getting longer. I think that $200 one is going to be legit. I really do. So we'll see. Oh, God bless you all. I really appreciate that. Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah, commercials are paid for 10 times over. Thank you. Really appreciate that. Anybody else? Game Boy Advance in my head. What's funny is I've thought about that since the beginning. Even when I did the logo, I was like, oh yeah, Game Boy Advance. So I'm right there with you, but thank you for that. Okay, so we can wrap up here. It's almost an hour. If anyone has any additional questions, overall, right now I am working on the golf ball portion of that video from the PGA show, where I'm basically going to go through each booth, and then I'm going to kind of do some voiceovers. I'm going to talk about the model coming out, why it's good, why it's not good, what has me worried. And I also put them into tiers, like the S tier, the A tier, the B tier. I do that as far as like how impressed I was with what they have coming out for this year, golf ball wise. I will do another video that's just like it about clubs. I will then do a third video that's about just cool stuff I found. Glasses, magnets, tech, accessories, launch monitor, whatever it is, that'll be in a third separate video. Then we get into season 6, and that's when it's going to get really cool, because the new review format, I hope you really like. We'll see. Did you see or hit that center shafted driver? Okay, I got to look this up. Center. Here we go. Yeah. Oh, okay. No, I didn't see that. Let's see. Here's a little video. I did not get to try that, and it looks atrocious. It looks so bad. Maybe it's better. I don't know, but it scares me. It's hard to look at. It feels like, there was a lot of products at the show that felt like they were a little too progressive for their own good. Right. And the best way I can describe that to you is like, technology's cool, right? If I tell you, oh, I can turn on the lights with my phone, that's cool. But if you come over and say, hey, where's your light switch? And I say, oh, I took it out because I can control it on my phone. It's like, okay, well, you took something that all it took was to go click. And now I have to get out my phone, turn it on, do the passcode, go into the app, let the app load, connect to the internet just to turn my lights on. I think that we've gone too far. I don't think it's progressive anymore. I think we've taken a step back. That's what a lot of the products felt like. There was a putter in particular that looked like a clock piece on the back of it. It's from Killer Putters, and I'm sorry to have to call you out, Killer, if you see this. I'm so sorry. But it was like you could shift the weight from one side to the other and yada, yada. Alex and I hated it. We hated the feel. We hated we hated the look, the feel. It looks tacky. It looks weird. But more importantly, when we left, we felt like, I don't know that was needed. Like, we already have so much technology and putters. I'm not sure. And don't get me wrong. Sometimes you take a swing and you just miss. But that's what that feels like, the center shafted driver. It just, because then you got to get used to that. And then you go back to a regular driver and then your swing is messed up. I don't know. That scares me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Bruce, I do remember you telling me that about how I don't think TaylorMade's ever there. I don't think they're ever there, which is a darn shame. It was literally a Lab April Fool's joke that someone made real. And what's funny about that is, now that you say it, I do remember that. I do remember that prank from Lab. I forgot it was from Lab, but they did like an April Fool's joke where they said, our putters are center shafted, so now a driver. I remember that. That's good. That's hilarious. Oh, I would try to hit it. I definitely would take a crack at it. Crack is the appropriate word, because I'm not sure exactly what would happen after I made contact, but I'd give it a go. Loving the Triad, but looking forward to the new Chrome Soft. Yeah, we'll know soon, Bruce. I know. Just a couple more weeks, man, and we're gonna all of a sudden have so many. And you got the inside scoop. You're lucky, Bruce. But we'll know soon. It's been a busy couple weeks. Have you ever tried the mini driver as a 3-wood replacement? I have. I'm a big proponent of the mini driver. Anybody who is playing a tighter course, anyone who is struggling with their driver as far as hitting up on it, and you're still trying to get used to how a iron swing is different from a driver swing, the mini drivers are legit in that regard. There was a time, I've gotten better now, but about a year ago where I hit my 3-wood farther than my driver. And so it made sense. I went to a fitter and I said, should I have a mini driver? And they were like, yeah, you should. If you're hitting your 3-wood farther than your driver, absolutely. So if it fits you and it's something you need, if you need more control, you're not as concerned about the distance, absolutely. They're fantastic. If you like to tee it high and watch it fly, you're going to need that 460cc head. What is your favorite putter to date for feel and performance? Great question. Putter. As far as feel and performance, well, the PXG putter I have, which is, I have to look it up. It's a blade kind of, it's like a 1942 something that's in the name. It's like supposed to resemble a plane or whatever. I got it for $90. And as far as feel, it's the best putter I've ever felt, period. Jailbirds. I hope I say that right. The Odyssey Jailbirds feel pretty good to me. I love how they come off the putter. They have a very nice, subtle click. One of my favorites. Definitely top 3 for sure. Love that. I use a mini driver instead of a driver in 3-wood for a high handicapper. It's easier to hit. Yeah, exactly. Some guys wouldn't see a difference in distance. They would actually gain or even just be the same. Any more info on the new Bridgestone Tour balls? All I can say is I'm excited. They're excited. Again, the passion, right? They were one of the few booths that recognized me immediately, and they came over and was just like, hey, how's it going? Did you get the samples? Do you like them? They wanted to know feedback. They also told me about how this year, more than any other year, they wanted consumer feedback. You know, usually they have a certain number of guys, let's say the number's 500 or whatever, right? And they send this out and they're like, we want to know your feedback, yada, yada. They've done 2, 3, 4 times that amount this year because they really think they have something. They really think what they have is game changing. They were doing interviews on the Golf Channel when I was there. I was able to kind of stand to the side and watch the interview, with Adam, who I've met, great guy. They're just so they're excited. And the thing is you can see it on their face. They know they have something. Until I'm interested to see what these numbers end up. I really am, because I think they're going to be awesome. I think Bridgestone has, or will this year, cement their place as a legit tour ball. The negative is now they're no longer $50. They're $55 a dozen, which breaks my heart into a tiny million pieces. Most players could use 7 to 10 clubs rather than a full 14 and score better. Yeah, absolutely. Everyone's different. Golf is so fickle. Everyone's different. Mini drivers were cash grabs for OEMs because they ship 46 suits lawns drivers. Minis have their place, but I'd put good money on amateurs 45-inch drive. And that's a great point too. You could just also cut down your driver. Now I will admit the cash grab thing makes sense, because the only thing that truly bothers me about mini drivers is they don't lose their value. Like it's weird. There's a mini driver from TaylorMade that just came out last year. It's $450. There's one that came out 2 years ago, $450. The one that came out 3 years ago, $450. Like, they're just $450. They don't go down in price. They don't have a sale, and I don't get it. Every other club does that. Your 3-wood goes on sale. The new model comes in, it goes on sale. It doesn't matter whether you're Ping or whether you're Cobra, whether you're Titleist, they go on sale. Mini drivers just stay the same price. And that's weird to me. And it's got to be a marketing ploy to just be like, well, it's a mini driver. If you want it, this is what we have. But it's like, if it's 2-3 years old, why am I still paying $450? It feels like I could just get a 3-wood at that point for like $200 and be good. You know what I mean? Really outfit it, get the right shaft, get it upgraded. You know, I don't know. Or a driver, like you just said, get a good driver and cut it down. Yeah, that makes sense. Have you hit a 9-wood or 11-wood? I love them. I'll never take them out of my bag. I have never had the chance to. If I continue to play like how I played today, I might consider it. Used minis on second swing and Callaway pre-owned or 300 plus. See, that's my point. You can't really get a good deal anywhere. Took 1 inch off my regular driver and a huge difference. So maybe, yeah. And see, I would consider that. I'll have to think about that with my driver because I'm a tall guy, but I don't have any dispersion with the driver. I've gotten to a point where I can hit it 280, but where it's going, God only knows. It could be right. It could be left. It could be down the center. It could go up into the atmosphere and never come back down. I don't know. Sometimes it feels like that because I'm like, hey, that was a great drive. And then I just can't find the ball. So that's really good information. Yeah, that's really good information on the mini drivers. Basically, just saying that they don't change. They just have a new coat of paint. I agree with that. But still, even then, I mean, some products are that way anyway. They just update, you know. I've been playing Madden, you know, the football game on PlayStation for years. Trust me, sometimes they just slap a new cover athlete on there, but they still charge me. The old one still goes on sale, you know, the previous year. Yeah. Great information. All of you. I love the insight. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. It's been just over an hour. I appreciate all of you for being on here. And I hope you learned some more. I hope you're excited about the PGA show. I hope you're excited about Bridgestone. I hope you're excited about Callaway. I hope you're excited about it all. There's going to be some really good content from the PGA show. I think you're going to like the S tier list. It's a lot of fun. I'm editing it right now and just being able to be there and talk to some people. It was cool. I highly recommend checking it out. There's going to be chapters and stuff. So if you only care about certain brands, absolutely, we'll be doing that. So it's going to be a good year for Golf Ball Addict. I'm really excited to dive in even further and you know, do some golf ball content that you're just not seeing anywhere else. And I mean, some of that's already the case, but going a step further, I'm really excited for season 6. Yes. Have a great night, everybody. Excited. God bless you all. Love you all. Thank you for being Golf Ball Addicts. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. If you're a football fan, enjoy some really, well, I'm not going to say good football because I don't know. We'll see. We got injured people. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, enjoy the weekend with your families and friends and have a good time. Play some golf and relax. It'll all work out. It always does. I'll see you guys soon.